YouTube channel. Again, we are going to be playing around with this spooky lighting, which is me only being lit up and terrifying backlight of cardboard cutouts behind me. So enjoy it. Okay, I'm gonna be real. It is currently 3:27 in the morning and I just got back from the gym. So, I was coming back to, get a shower, go to bed. On my walk home, to the bus stop so I could get the bus home to my apartment, I get this notification from H3H3 that Ethan has uploaded a video which is called Regarding Trisha Quitting Frenemies. And I immediately watch this on the bus home and I'm, taking down, mentally, from it. Then I start taking notes. I've rewatched this video 3 times to kind of get what I take from what Ethan's saying. Before I get into that, I do just want to say that I'm shocked, but I'm not shocked that Ethan did this video. I personally think Ethan was forced into addressing the situation at hand with Trisha Paytas, and that is because Trisha themselves have been posting all of these exposed videos on Ethan, and also exposing private text conversations, which I think is just so far beyond the point of any sort of redemption of Frenemies ever coming back. And I said it in my first video a couple days ago and I'll say it again. Frenemies, point blank period. We're seeing that it's not coming back. It shouldn't come back. This seems like the worst work environment between Trisha and the crew, and Trisha and Ethan. And it seems like H3H3 and Ethan all have a really good working condition, and it's making me sad that they're all going through this. So, I do think that Ethan had to make this video because it's been getting really bad, and especially when Trisha is, sharing all of these text conversations between them and Ethan. Ethan has to respond. They're not sitting beside each other on a black and white table or a black and pink table anymore. He has to be able to speak his mind and defend himself. He has a company, the company is at hand, the employees are getting mass hate, whether Trisha wants to admit that or not, or the Trisha fans want to admit that or not, that is what's happening. And he was kind of forced into making this video. Now, I didn't think he was going to make it just because I didn't think they were going to give it much attention. And obviously the decision is not up to me or you, and they have done it, so let's, go through what Ethan says. He is, sitting in the normal setting of the podcast, and these are some of the notes that I have taken. So, Ethan initially just starts by saying that, he can't be Trisha's emotional punching bag, but then whenever he wants to talk back or make some sort of joke or some sort of narrative that even Trisha's pushing to him, Trisha threatens to leave, or, point blank period, quits. Which was really sad to hear him say, because we know that it's the truth. Anytime that a conversation goes too far on Trisha's end, that's normally when one of the big explosive fights happen. But, things have been targeted towards Ethan, but I think even I have laughed it off as, their friendship. It's important to note as well that Trisha has not said anything on social media as the time of this has been posted, so I'm sure we can expect a very explosive argument back and forth very soon, and it just makes me sad because Ethan and Ela are in such an exciting time of their life right now. Ela is having, I think, triplets, and they're in the exciting stage of pregnancy and being able to start planning things, and it makes me sad that they have to deal with this regardless of whose side you're on. You can like Trisha and be on Trisha's side and still feel sad that this couple who have been very, excited to get pregnant are now pregnant and have to deal with this. It just makes me feel a bit sad. So then he talks about the fact that Trisha has always tokenized his Tourette's, and that makes him extremely uncomfortable, and that he has stated that. So now we have Ethan coming forward and saying that, all the jokes that we've seen on Frenemies with Trisha making fun of Tourette's or maybe highlighting it make him uncomfortable. Then we go on. Ethan says that the extent of Trisha's input is just ideas. And he says something that's very interesting to me in this video. He says, Trisha would come to me and say, let's do this, let's go to the moon, let's go to, dancing class, let's do whatever. And he's like, that's great, it's a great idea, but who are the people that put that idea into actuality? It's the crew who deserve the money, which was the topic at hand. Which is also a really good point that even I didn't think about. So then it goes on, he talks about how Trisha even shitted on the tour bus idea whenever they filmed that video. Remember they did the second Frenemies vlog where they were on the tour bus? He said that Trisha actually shitted on that idea, didn't think it was good, and was disappointed with the fact that I think the crew were involved on the bus and it wasn't other, strangers. So he's saying that as I said here, never good enough for them. Anything. And then goes on to say that the crew weren't uncomfortable, you know, doing the shit with Trisha or meeting up with Trisha, which Trisha is presenting to us that the crew were almost on a strike, which is what Ethan said, and, you know, we're avoiding them. Ethan said no, the crew were professional and willing to do the vlog and do the shit with Trisha the day after, even though it was so uncomfortable. He then decided they weren't going to do that. The reason for them being uncomfortable being around Trisha was not because they were just uncomfortable around Trisha. It was that Ethan had told them, the crew, that Trisha had told Ethan that Trisha wanted to get rid of all of them, allegedly, and hire a whole new team. So basically putting their jobs on the line for Frenemies. So that is a bit fucking awkward. Like, they have to go in person to see the person who's wanting them to get replaced. Yikes. Then it goes on, Ethan says that he texts Trisha after their video about quitting Frenemies, and that Trisha allegedly ignored Ethan and then posted another 20-minute video, and he was basically explaining his frustration that he wasn't able to even get through to Trisha because Trisha was just wanting to do videos instead of texting him back. Now again, he didn't show any proof, he didn't do whatever, so that is just what he said. Then he goes on to say the following. Now we have this drama with the fan section. This was a new part of Frenemies that was organised by Sam, who is Ian's girlfriend, who just got hired, that Trisha had a huge issue with because Trisha wants input on who they can also hire, and Ethan said, why should Trisha have input on my company? Sam was already working for me and is now just hired in my company, not Trisha's company. Trisha is an employee. So this was the full conversation that was going on. And so what Sam was working on was, you know, this fan section where fans could send in questions, and then Trisha said on the air, point blank period, it was dumb, that they hated it, and a lot of the fans got really disappointed at that, and it was just very rude. I already said my opinions of that. Ethan said that Trisha had retweeted and liked the tweet that was announcing the fan sequence and then shitted on it in person, in live, in front of all the crew. So it was extremely confusing. Then he also goes on to say that they not only did that, but also they and Ethan talked about the segment before they filmed it, allegedly, and Trisha loved it. It was only whenever the cameras were rolling and the crew were in front of them, which, again, it's like, ugh. Okay, we go on though. It says that they continued doing Frenemies in his house, even though they agreed initially with Trisha to only do it in their basement of their house, then moved to downtown LA. They said that Trisha complained and said that they didn't want to do, you know, Frenemies in downtown LA in their new premises, you know, their new studio, because they had bad memories down in downtown LA. So after a bit of talking, they agreed to continue doing it in the basement, which then Ethan said cost him, you know, $30,000 extra, which again is more money that they're losing, but then Trisha wants back, allegedly. So he's basically saying that they're going out of their way to do all this equipment and moving it just to fit what Trisha wants in the house. But now Trisha is uncomfortable even filming Frenemies in the house because Trisha doesn't want the crew to be there, but wants their crew to be there, is what he said. Then my final note is, Ethan says that Trisha complains that they're not involved in the creative process of the show and don't get involved much. And now this was a stinger when he said this, because it's a really interesting point. He said that Trisha was complaining about that, but he then references back to the first couple of episodes of Frenemies where Trisha on air complains that Ethan texts them too much and wants too much of them for the show, and that Trisha just wants to, you know, enjoy their Sunday and not get all these texts past a certain time. So Ethan was like, it's a bit confusing that you're now complaining that you don't have enough creative input, but whenever we did, you complained that we were, like, harassing you. So that was the notes I had taken. And I've also did many timestamps, actually like 3, of important parts that I want to go to in the show. Oh, also, Ethan brings up that Trisha said that they loved the costume idea in the recent Frenemies and were so down for it, and Trisha said, he shows the text, "This is one of my all-time favorite movies, can we? I love her." And then on air, Trisha said that they didn't even watch the movie and they hated the character, which shows the inconsistencies. But again, that's just him showing DMs and messages like Trisha did for him. So I'm going to go to some of these timestamps that I have because, again, I watched this a couple times and there were just some interesting points that I wanted to show you and talk about, so we can go through them without having to watch the entire video. So here we go. This is the first timestamp that I have. Also, I am wearing the same top as Ethan. I thought it would be fitting.
A fully itemized report every month of literally everything and how the expenses break down and her cut. And the fact that she would even accuse me of not being transparent is honestly very hurtful because I've gone so far out of my way to be as transparent as possible. I show her literally everything. I have our CPA preparing a monthly report itemizing literally everything.
Yikes.
We pay for all of that. We do all of that. We work on Sundays to prep the show. And she's complaining that 5%, she's apparently like, I want to say, and how that 5% is spent. The 5% is already spent on everything I just said.
Makes sense.
There is no production company in the world that would do all that for 5%.
Also true.
More like 50% or even more.
I was about to say they normally do 60%.
It's a family rate. It's literally nothing. It might not even be covering our costs, to be honest with you. It's as close to nothing as humanly possible. And one of the great efforts I've always made to be as fair and transparent and accommodating to Trisha as possible, but it's like she always keep going back. Like, I have a say to say what the 5%.
This is about, the money conversation.
How did you hire Sam without consulting me? It's like, I'm sorry, this is our business. She's not just working on Frenemies.
So that was the first timestamp, and then the second timestamp I'm going to go to right now. So you can see this is, this video by Ethan is really telling. Really, really, really bad for Trisha. And the comments are not favorable for Trisha. Okay, here's the next one.
Made the risk, used her company's resources.
About Teddy Fresh and Ela.
And
about Frenemies merch.
And,
for
Trisha to just, walk out. I mean, we have this merch release. Every penny I've made from Frenemies, by the way, if she wants to talk about money, is tied up in this merch that doesn't come out for another month. And I don't even know if we're going to sell.
I'd still buy it.
All the complaining she does for money, she's the only one, as far as I'm concerned, that's actually making money from this thing. Because I've spent pretty much every fucking penny I've made from Frenemies into the show, on merch, into the own resources, buying more equipment for the fucking studio, building the set. It's so easy for her to complain. She shows up, she gets a guaranteed check every fucking month, and I'm putting all my money on the line, and now I have hundreds of thousands of dollars tied up in merch that I'm probably not going to be able to fucking sell, that my wife works super hard on, her staff works super hard on, and now it's like, tough luck, dude. Trisha got paid, and she's complaining about 5%. It blows my mind, and I'm upset about it. I am. I can't hide it. I just am.
So there was that, and then next timestamp, let me get to it. Here we go. So this is about Trisha leaking Ethan's text conversations.
She shows a message. Again, I don't know why she's sending our private messages. And okay, she outed me. I hit my icon on WhatsApp is Metamucil. Love that product. She tweets out, she circles, we are splitting the 30%, which is typically our profit margin. It's like, Trisha, just read what I wrote to you. The profit margin is 30%. I'm giving you half of the profits.
Oh my God.
Do you want 50% of all the revenue? Because I will lose money again. Apparently, you're the only one that's allowed to make money in this relationship. I really don't understand.
Fuck.
We are splitting the 30%, which is typically our profit margin. That's 50%. We've been talking about the merch. This was she was super gung-ho and passionate about it. Like I said, we were planning a photo shoot this Thursday that we were already put down $10,000 on. And she just, fuck that, right? Spent. She didn't put a penny down on that shit.
This is yikes.
And by the way, sharing our business profit margins is not public information.
Okay, so there's that, and then now the final one that I want to show you is right here. It's actually a continuation of this, and then I'll end it here.
You don't want to deal with this. It's the responsibility has to fall to someone, me obviously, and the crew to put on a watchable show. So Sunday night, she's saying, "Don't text me." It's okay, let's do this, guys. And then meanwhile, she's got the chutzpah to come out here and say, "They don't ask me for my input."
Yikes! Oh, so
it's just unwinnable. It's unwinnable situation.
Oh, yikes!
We've gone out of our way in every imaginable way to make her feel welcome, accommodated, listened to, appreciated to. I mean,
Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. We don't need to watch anymore. And also, he starts the video by literally saying that he doesn't want to burn any bridges with Trisha, but he has to make this because his name and company and employees are all being tarnished, and ugh. Ugh. It like makes me tense up, you know what I mean? Ugh. Anyway, so there's that. It just is insanely, okay, without getting too into like family and stuff like that, it makes me feel very weird, personally, that this is all happening very publicly, right? So we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but this is happening very publicly. And, you know, Trisha's with Moses, and Ela is Moses' brother, and Ela's with Ethan, and it's just so messy, and so I can't understand what's going on behind the scenes if this is what's happening publicly. I want to know what your thoughts are on this. Please let me know. Okay, my camera literally fucking died. I think it's Trisha Paytas coming through and trying to stop me from making this video. So, let me know what your opinion is. We can talk about it below. I think this is just fucking insane. I love you, thank you for watching, and yeah. Yikes!